King County, Texas, with a population hovering around 400. It's the third least populated county in the entire United States. And this year, it's the home of the AQHA Bear Best Remuda winner. Since 1992, AQHA and Bear have presented the Best Remuda Award. It honors the contributions ranch horses have made to the heritage of the American quarter horse. Located between the West Texas towns of Guthrie and Benjamin, this year's winner is Moorhouse Ranch Company. Owned and operated by Tom, wife Becky, and son Gage. Morehouse Ranch was purchased by Tom's grandfather back in 1920. And it's where Tom, along with his three brothers, were born and raised. Although the original stone ranch house has been gradually added onto throughout the years, this is the only home Tom Morehouse has ever known.
We lived there with their mother and dad, and we did everything the little boys supposed to do when we was kids, and we stayed outside a lot and played outside a lot, and then when we got a little older, Daddy went taking his horse back, and when we first started, well, one of us would ride behind him and the other one would ride behind a neighbor. And the two older boys, they could ride their own horses, but I was one of the younger ones, so we had to ride behind our daddy and the neighbor. And I remember they'd split up, we'd be working a pasture, and we'd get back together, and my little brother would lean over and says, "Did you get to lope any?" Because that was a big deal if we got to lope a little.
Raised by Father Togo Morehouse and Mom Lucille, this family has ranching in their blood, close-knit as well. Before they built the bunkhouse, all four boys shared a single room. Until 2000, all four brothers operated Morehouse Ranch Company. Nowadays, all the brothers have a stake in the ranch, but as owner and manager, Tom leases from his three brothers. Currently, Ed, the oldest, sells real estate. Brother John ranches near Seymour, and Bob Morehouse is the retired general manager of nearby Pitchfork Ranch. Tom's wife, Becky, was born into the ranch life as well. She grew up in Vernon, Texas, on the historic Wagner Ranch.
It's real peaceful out here, and I grew up in the ranch environment. I love being around the animals and to just ride and see the cattle and the grass growing. It's just near nature, and it's a wonderful way to live and a good place to raise a family.
Well, ranching back then was, of course, we didn't have all the modern technology that we have now, and we did things more like they were did back in the 50s, and we still had screw worms. We had to do a lot of doctoring screw worms, and all summer that was a job, is prowling for screw worms and doctoring them. And then we all ran Hereford cattle back then. We didn't run black cattle. Hereford was king of the cattle, and a black cow was almost unheard of. And matter of fact, they would have culled the cow if she, for some reason, had a black. She got to be grown. And we didn't palpate the cows back then, so there wasn't as much work around a chute, and there's a lot more work done out horseback out in the pastures. And then when we'd throw them in to throw a herd together, we worked the herd a lot. We were on a horse ever since we were real little, so I can't remember. I can tell you a good story when I was a teenager. I went after the horses bareback, and I was bareback and barefooted. And I went after the horses, and the flies were bad. And I was riding an old mare named Katie Bell, and she was real gentle. We just kept her up for a night horse to wrangle horses on. So anyway, I was riding old Katie Bell, and she was swatting at the flies like this, and all of a sudden, the bottom ring of the bit wound up around my big toe. And then when she straightened her head up, it put a bind on my big toe, and I was hung, sitting up on that horse with my foot hung in the bit, and I was bareback, just leaned way over. And I thought, well, my dad's told us of everything dangerous that might happen horseback and cautioned us all our life, but I don't ever remember saying anything about getting your toe hung in the bit. But in a minute, it came out and everything was just rosy.